second last point of this chapter, that is colonialism and the Marathas. Today we are going to learn about Siddhi and the Maratha Empire. In the later half of the 15th century, Siddhi arrived in India from Abyssinia, Ethiopia. They established themselves at Janjira. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj took over the forts at Tale, Bhosle and Rayari. Siddhi was alarmed because of this. In 1671, Maratha army blocked all opportunity to Janjira fort. Siddhi agreed to surrender the fort to Marathas, but at the same time extended a hand of friendship to the Mughals and expressed readiness to be their feudatory. The Mughal agreed to help him. With the help of the Mughal, Siddhi successfully attacked their enemy, that is the Maratha army. Siddhi and the British always helped each other against common enemy, that is the Maratha. To strengthening the Maratha position against these two, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj began to build a fort on Khanderi Island, that is in the south of Mumbai. The construction work was supervised by Manak Bhandari. Hughes, a British officer, attempted to shut down the construction work by stopping the supplies to the site. The British had to face strong opposition from Manak Bhandari and Daulat Khan, the chief of Maratha Navy. They seized British ships and captured a number of British officers. The British deployed one big steamship and 7 small ships. 40 to 50 small ships of the Maratha bravely confronted the British ships. In the end, the British were forced to beat a retreat, move back from the vicinity of Kanderi. Siddhi was increasingly getting difficult. Hence, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj decided to curb his movement and plan a campaign against him. Siddhi was driven to despair because of the repeated attacks by the Maratha. In the vicinity of Undheri, that is in Mumbai harbour, Apte, in Pune, Naguthane, in Raigad, and Janjira in the city of Murd, Raigad. While Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj was thus planning to crush Siddhi forever, the Mughal army was marching towards Swaraj. It would have been unwise to face two enemies on two different fronts. Hence, Maratha army stopped chasing Siddhi. After Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Raja Ram Maharaj and Maharani Tarabai were continuously engaged in combating Aurangzeb. Therefore, they could not pay much attention to the nuisance created by the other enemies. During the time of Bajirao Peshwa I, in the year 1733 Common Era, once again active against Siddhi. Chimaji Appa, the younger brother of Bajirao Peshwa I, declared war against Siddhi and won it. It was great victory. A treaty was signed by the Marathas and Siddhi. Siddhi accepted a feudatory status under the Marathas. Last point of this chapter, Afghans and the Maratha Empire. In the first half of the 18th century, the mighty Mughal Empire had already lost its glory. The Mughal rule was now limited only to Delhi, Agra, and Punjab. The year 1748 witnessed the first invasion of India by Ahmad Shah Abdali, the king of Afghans. He was defeated at Sirhind by Shahzada Ahmad Shah, the elder son of the emperor. In 1751, Abdali again invaded India. This time, the Mughal emperor ceded or entrusted the provinces of Lahore and Multan to Abdali in order to avoid war. In 1752, the Marathas and the Mughals arrived at an agreement. According to that agreement, the Maratha accepted the responsibility to defend North India, especially the Mughal dominions. In return, Mughal emperor granted the right of collecting chauthai from Rohilkhand, that is in Uttar Pradesh, to the Marathas and also ceded part of the some Mughal provinces. In 1757, Abdali again attacked for the third time. He returned to Afghanistan after ransacking the region around Delhi and Mathura. This time, the Maratha army marched from Pune under the leadership of Raghunath Rao Peshwa. But before they could reach Delhi, Abdali had already gone back. Maratha took charge of Delhi and normalized the situation there. Maratha and Sikh together planned a campaign to get back Punjab, which was held by Abdali. They conquered Sirhind in Punjab province and then Lahore. From there, the Maratha army reached Attock, that is in north of Pakistan's Punjab. In 1759, Abdali marched back for the fourth time. Dattaji and Jana Khoji Sindhe, the Maratha noble, resisted his advance. However, Abdali marched with great speed and strength and conquered Punjab in no time. Dattaji Sindhe fell on the battlefield. Abdali took complete hold of Delhi with an intention of ousting the Afghan permanently. The Maratha army marched out from Pune under the leadership of Sadashiv Rao Bhau Peshwa and Vishwarao Peshwa. On 14th January 1761, the Maratha army and Abdali confronted each other at Panipat on the river bank of Yamuna. The war between them is known as Third Battle of Panipat. Both Peshwas were killed in this war. A message in code language was sent to Pune announcing the loss. It was as follows: 2 precious pearls fell, 27 gold coins were lost, and there is no count to the loss of silver and copper coins. Indeed, the Maratha on the battleground of Panipat fought with an unwavering conviction, which can be described as India for the Indians. It was not an easy task for Abdali to rule Delhi, and he soon returned home. The Maratha opposition was so furious, awful, that neither Abdali nor his successor even returned to India. The British could establish absolute supremacy in India once the Maratha rule declined in the 19th century. However, the Indians fought against the British supremacy. Besides, they also had to fight against many internal evil practices and customs that were prevalent in the Indian society. A book written by Cosme da Grada, a Portuguese historian, is very important, as a source of history of Maratha. He wrote a book entitled Peri di Celebre Savage, Life of the Celebrated Shivaji. He was the first European author to write a biography of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Here are couple of passages from this book. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is such awe-inspiring name that there is hardly anybody who would ever think of challenging him. He is very impartial when it came either to reward or punish a person. He never left a virtue unrewarded or a crime unpunished. He is loved by all because of his valor and human conduct. He is regarded throughout India as the greatest king, whose name was feared, and at the same time he was also known as the one of who cared the most for the welfare of his subject.